What's up, fellow Age Groupies? Welcome to another episode of the Age Groupies Podcast. I'm Mike Ergo, and along with my co-host Lindsay Hiken, we're here to talk to you about all things related to endurance sports from an amateur athlete perspective. We talk about how to have fun along the way and stop taking ourselves so seriously. You can follow the show on Instagram at Age Groupies, join our Age Groupies page on Facebook, and look us up by name Lindsay Hiken and Mike Ergo on Strava. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas for a topic for our show, email us at agegroupies@gmail.com. And if you enjoy the show, go ahead and leave us a rating and review on iTunes. It helps us out. You can also leave that wherever you get your podcasts. And today's episode is a discussion about how to try the things we can do as triathletes during a global pandemic, which is now. Lindsay and I go over practical advice on what you can do during this time when there might not be any races on your calendar and you're wondering how to spend your time. Well, we have the answers for you guys. So stay tuned. It's going to be a good episode. You'll enjoy it. And let's get to it. Cool.
So welcome to Age Groupies. How are you doing today, Mike?
What's up? I'm good. I've been up for hours already, and it's only 7:09.
I've been up for an hour and 9 minutes.
Nice.
And I got in a little mini workout already because my youngest dog, Zoe, would not come back in after I let her out to pee. And she is a Jack Russell and ran around the yard barking and waking up the neighbors, and I was chasing her.
It's my favorite part about young, small dogs. I love it.
She's the most adorable dog, and she's such an asshole at the same time. Like, she's just...
I have a dog named Bruno. He's a dachshund. He's an adorable dog, very affectionate, and he's a little fucking asshole too. Every time I come back in my room, you know, my wife and sometimes my kids are in there sleeping, and he'll bark, even though he knows it's me. He knows it's me. I start barking. I have to go over and like rub his belly, be like, "Shh, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up." Trying to my like threatening whispers to him.
Zoe has this thing where she's super she'll growl. I mean, she growls like she's gonna, and she does this thing where she whips her head around, she's like she's gonna snap on your, but then when she gets her teeth on you, she doesn't bite down. So she's literally all bark, but so she's always like very loving in the morning, but by the evening she's tired from her day of being a douchebag.
Yeah.
And if you go anywhere near her to like pet her or anything, she'll freaking growl and snap at you. And I'm like, no, you're here for love. Like, that's why you're here.
Yeah, exactly.
She's just like, don't fucking touch me and give me a treat. And I want to lay in my soft bed and I deserve everything. And I'm like, I'll just, yeah. Josh is like, we're just like serving her like she's the queen.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So if you're just tuning in, welcome back to Explicit Small Dog Talk with Lindsay and Mike.
We're changing the topic of our podcast from triathlons to
little dogs that we swear at.
Asshole.
Yeah.
Anyway, so long story long, I got in some wind sprints already this morning.
Good. Nice. Yeah, I have not gotten my workout, but because my pool requires a reservation and they were all full, so I needed to do that ahead of time. I got one down for Friday, so that we're going to get into it in a bit, but our topic of the show today is how to be a triathlete during a pandemic. And we got a few points, a few tips. We'd love to hear from you guys. You can hit us up, agegroupies@gmail.com, to let us know what you are doing. But before we get into all of that, let's recap about Sue Reynolds. I mean, how cool was that episode? That we've gotten so much feedback about that episode. So inspirational.
That was, I mean, she was amazing. Interviewing her was so inspirational, but fun. Like, she's just such a joy. And I was really proud of that episode. I mean, I feel like you did an excellent job prepping the questions, and Sue was so easy to talk to. And I mean, I just thought I thought it was great. I had a lot of feedback too, just people even texting me and saying, you know, this is our favorite one yet. And I mean, it was amazing. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Sue. You crushed it.
Thank you.
We really appreciate you. And we thank you, everybody, for the feedback and letting us know that's what you like. So
And go get her book. Go get her book.
go get her book.
Athlete Inside. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was fun. If you haven't heard that episode yet, it's the one right before this. Go check it out. Not our Meditation Monday episode, which comes out every single Monday. We want to hear from you guys what you want to hear in these meditations too. I've been putting out a few. We've had a couple from Amy. And
I'm getting ready to do some. I swear, but I got something going on the 30th of July. And after that, I will do it.
yeah, we have plenty of meditations. So you guys go get meditated. I think we all need a little meditation in our life, especially we have a lot of strife in this country and a global pandemic. If there's any time for meditation, it's now.
100%. I did already meditate today. That's the other thing I did.
Fuck, you've been up for less than I have, and you've done like more useful, cool things. You've gotten in wind
Dude, I
sprints
gotta
and
meditate.
meditation.
I got to meditate. Like I literally, my alarm goes off and I just sit up in my bed. And usually I use the Calm app at the first thing in the morning, and I don't do a guided one. It just has like, it's a timed one.
Yeah.
So it just has the sound of like nature in the background.
Ooh.
And I just start, because if I don't, I come out swinging.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like it's way better for me to come out of the room like meditated than it is for me to come out.
Right. Yeah, that's
my default setting.
I think our first shirt for Age Groupies should be Age Groupies meditated as fuck, or just meditated
That's
AF.
Exactly. Well, I mean, there's no better time than a pandemic to start, something new like meditation. I mean, let's be real. Most of us were commuting at least a little bit.
Yeah.
And we don't have to do that anymore. That's a lot of meditation time.
That is a metric shit ton of meditation time. And I can already tell this episode is going to be explicit.
We're just going to go ahead and mark that on.
That's what we do, though. That's what we do. So if your kids are in the car, well, guess what? They learned a lot of new words today.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. That's how we parent. Why are you letting your kids listen to this, first of all? Shame on you.
Why are you boring your children with this? I mean, if I was a kid, I'd be like, your stupid sports thing again? Can we not listen to, I don't know.
Talking.
I don't know. I don't even know what kids listen to right now.
It's boring. I'll tell you what my kids listen to. We listen to the soundtrack to Frozen. We listen to the soundtrack to Trolls 1 and 2. And right now, I'm really getting into some Lego Batman soundtrack. So
Sweet.
Yeah. So let's get into it. How to be a triathlete during a pandemic, which would be now. What are you doing, Lindsay, that is keeping you going?
Well, my thoughts about the word triathlon is that, I mean, yes, there's the three sports, swim, bike, run. But if I just look at the word triathlete, it just means like an athlete that's doing three things. And so I've decided to expand my definition of what those three things could be, those three sports could be.
Okay.
During the pandemic. So just mainly because I've got some physical challenges, continued knee stuff. And so, the routine that I was doing within the gym to fix the runner's knee, I don't really I have some access to, I could do some of it at home, which I should be doing and I'm not, but I don't have access right yet to all of the equipment I was using. And so I kind of stopped doing it. And so the knee stuff's back. So running is kind of out, and my running things were canceled. So I'm not as, tense about running right now. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
So I'm road bike, mountain bike, stand-up paddleboard.
I like that. That's cool. You get some good shoulder workouts in there.
Yeah, I get some shoulder workouts in there. Plus, it's super peaceful to go paddleboarding around here, like in the morning or whatever. It's awesome. Just, it's another sort of meditative thing. And then the mountain biking is new-ish for me. And I love it. I've been doing a ton of that, and then mixing it in with some road biking. So that's kind of my basic philosophy, is like just doing three different things that are active.
I like that. So it keeps the variety on there. So that segues and blends nicely with my first point that I put down is focus on what you can control. Let the rest of that shit go. Because your knees aren't working well for running. Well, okay, find something else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your races are canceled. Okay, well, join a virtual race. You know,
Mm-hmm.
do your own self-supported race, like our badass friend Brenna, who's going to be doing that in a couple of weeks.
You're doing it. Is it this weekend?
This weekend, Pandemic Man 70.3 is happening.
All right.
So, Brenna, I'm going to recon the course for you and let you know how it is and let you know where the potholes are so you can avoid those on your bike.
Oh, that's really nice. She'll appreciate that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So pivoting is like a good thing. It's a good quality to have. The ability to change and go with the flow is something good. And I think as triathletes, we have a lot of practice in that because everyone who's done more than one race knows that you can plan and train and prepare and do all of the things that, you know, we do to get ready for a race. And then the race can be completely not at all what you planned for. I mean, anything could happen. You could have a mechanical on your bike. I've had races where we showed up and then the water quality wasn't good. And they were like, oh, guess what? It's a duathlon. It's run, bike, run. You know, and that was fine for me. But there were a lot of swimmers there that were kind of bummed. You know what I mean?
This is our thing. I had a swim canceled on me last year. It's hard to keep track now. Last year or the year before at Santa Rosa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, last year. Yeah.
Turned into a time trial start.
Yep. Oh, geez. Yeah. So it's like that's something that's part of the sport is to be able to pivot with whatever's going on and still move forward. And so I think the way that we need to look at this overall.
Yes, exactly. Because the rest of the stuff you can worry about all day long, but it's not going to change it. It's just going to add to your stress and you're going to die sooner.
Mm-hmm. You're right. And I think a lot of us, you know, racing and triathlon's a part of a healthy lifestyle that we don't want to die sooner. So, you know, wrapping yourself into a crazed little bundle over not being able to go to an event is not going to help with that goal.
If you're struggling with this, hit up our Meditation Monday episodes. Mm-hmm. We got a new one coming out this next Monday. I think everyone's going to like. It's a little bit longer. It's about half hour long on compassion.
That's a good one. That's a great topic. And it's a good thing to meditate on for sure, especially in this current climate in our country.
Yes.
So, yeah. So, you know, one of the things I think makes me feel, I think it makes a lot of people feel anxious. And I know that's true for me is uncertainty in terms of like, we don't actually know when we're going to be able to race again. Mm-hmm. It's not like, oh, all the races in August have been canceled and then in September we're going to get back to it. I mean, we all hope that a vaccine will be created and et cetera, but we don't really know like if that's going to be this year or next year or we don't know.
Yeah.
And so, you know, to have a big part of our identity tied up in being a triathlete, I think it can be a little bit disturbing just because you're like, well, this is a big part of who I am. Like, this is my community. This is my tribe. This is what I do. And I define myself a little bit by the fact that I'm a triathlete. And now there's no way for me to be triathleting.
Yeah.
And
there are ways to be, you got to be creative. Like, I had the honor of speaking at your triathlon club, the Silicon Valley Tri Club. And they have, I'm sure like all the tri clubs have online Zoom meetings. So I'd say now is the perfect time to join a tri club, to connect with other people, even if it's just virtually and online.
Yeah. Clubs and also, sorry, I'm eating bacon. Fell off the vegan wagon pretty fast and hit the bacon. Yeah. And, you know, also you've brought this up so many times, but why are you racing? I mean, why are you doing triathlon? Yes. Like in your case, obviously you have a much larger why in mind in terms of supporting Gold Star families and bringing awareness to that. And that goal can be accomplished in other ways.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is a good time for those of us who feel a little bit like, oh no, my whole thing is, my whole identity is smashed. It's like, well, why are you racing? What is, and it doesn't have to be that you are doing something super altruistic. Maybe it's just that you really feel like this is the way to keep your, mental and emotional sanity.
Oh yeah. And that's a big part of it for me too. There's the tie-in with the Gold Star families, which is huge. But the mental component, my mental and physical health is, I'd say, just as big.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, remember your why. Remember why you got in the sport, why you love the sport.
Because I think you can still accomplish your why without the actual races happening.
Yeah, exactly. If you're racing, for something like team and training, well, you can have fundraisers and raise money for them. You can learn more about it. You can be involved in different ways that don't involve triathlon, or race day. I think that you have a lot of options still, even though there's no specific races. Like I'd recommend trying out a virtual race. In fact, wouldn't you know it, Lindsay, we have a virtual race coming up on August 22nd. I'll be having my second annual Gold Star Triathlon /
Oh my gosh.
duathlon. So people can sign up for that on goldstartriathlon.com.
We'll put the link in the show notes. So this would be a good one to try if you haven't done one yet. Tell us a little bit about so I haven't done a virtual race yet because I've just been chill. So I don't know. I mean, I know people who've done them and I've seen people's stats, but tell me exactly how do we measure it? What happens? Just in regards to the one that you're doing on August 22nd.
Yeah. So, a virtual race, you're doing, it means you're not all together at a race venue doing a race together, which is my preferred way. And I'd say probably most people's preferred way. So you're doing it on your own time usually. And this will be over the weekend of August 22nd. So you're going to measure it with either an app on your phone, or you will measure it with a wrist-based watch and heart strap or heart rate monitor if you have it. But the important thing is just that you time how long it takes you to do the run, the bike, and the run. Or if you have access to the pool and you're going to do the triathlon option, the swim, bike, and the run. And we'll have winners, an overall male and female winner. But the main point of it is to race for the good cause, which is to raise money for families of the fallen. It goes directly to them. And just to have something to do, so a benchmark in your calendar to train up for, and then experience a race day experience. Even though it's not a big one, it's going to be really fun.
That's going to be awesome. And so when you say over the weekend, does that mean that someone could swim? I mean, is the expectation that they do it right one after another like a normal race?
No, because there's no transition time. So you can do it in any order, and you can do it just over the weekend. So there's no specific requirement to do it right after one another.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's good. That's helpful because I was thinking I'd like to try doing it, but of course the swim time that I can get is going to be based on me, duking it out with everyone else at the pool and getting a slot.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so that's the reason I made this too, besides the point of raising money for the Gold Star families, is to be an entry point for people into the sport and removing as many barriers as possible. So when we had it at the gym last year, we had spin bikes. So nobody had to bring their bikes, helmets, bike shoes, any of that stuff. We had the run on treadmills. So nobody had to worry about, getting lost or getting hit by a car or anything. And then the swim was in a pool. So you didn't have to worry about your feet touching seaweed or getting lost in the ocean or a lake. So I wanted to make things as easy as possible so people could do it and have fun and fall in love with the sport as much as I have.
Awesome. Well, I think maybe that might be a good time for me to do my first virtual race.
Yes, and everybody who does this race will get a patch our very cool
Ooh.
Gold Star Initiative patch that I will be mailing you. I'll be hand mailing all of these things. I don't even. Yeah, I'll be doing the stamps and licking the envelopes myself.
It's time for stamps.com to give us a sponsorship deal.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. We can look into that.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited. I think I'm actually heading up to Tahoe that weekend, so maybe I can get my swimming in the lake. Like that would be friggin' amazing.
Yeah, I did that the other weekend, and it was I swam maybe a total of like, I don't know, 30, 40 meters. And one, it was at altitude, but two, I was like, fuck, I'm out of shape. You know, it's like,
Totally.
But God, it felt so good to catch and pull the water. Oh, so nice. I've never enjoyed swimming so much for a brief amount of time.
Yeah.
One thing I think we can do too during this time is experiment with new technique, try new things out, try new strength workouts out, try new form. If your coach has been haranguing you to have better form on your cycling, your running, or even your swimming, this is the perfect time. We have all the time in the world to work on this stuff.
That's true. That's actually true. And it's I think a lot of us like to have a goal. I think that's part of why events are so appealing to us. It's like, okay, on this date, and then we've got our event date, and then we backtrack and go, these are the things I want to do leading up to it. And so setting a goal of like improving a particular technique is actually a good way of giving yourself something to do to aim for.
Yep. Yeah, like you can do that on the bike with your cadence. You hit a certain number. Same with running, with your turnover.
Yeah, that's interesting that you brought that up because my running was doing well until the pandemic hit, and I I got sick, and then after I recovered, I didn't really get back to doing the things I needed to be doing that I was working on to get rid of the runner's knee, and it was actually working. Yeah. And my excuse has been just that I just haven't been doing it at home, and I was using these gym equipment. I just said this earlier in this episode, and now you're saying this, and I'm like, I actually have more time to work on it right now than I did before.
It's a sign from the universe, Lindsay.
My excuse is bullshit. Thanks, Mike.
You're welcome. The other thing we can experiment with is nutrition. If you're like me, I've used a lot of different nutrition products, and I would fall back on what was on the course during race day a couple times, even though like I'd started transitioning out of it, just because I didn't want to lose it, or I knew it worked, but I was scared to try something new. So I've had the chance to do that over the last year, but more specifically, I did my entire race for the COVID 70.3 with UCAN, and finally covered a long distance with that stuff. And UCAN, can we say it? Can we talk about it?
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
We've talked about it before. If you have been listening to the show since I started, before Mike came on as my co-host, you will have heard me do an interview with Matthew Bach, and he's with UCAN and also an amazing triathlete himself. And we talked about, he kind of ran through nutrition, how I would use UCAN, and specifically for how I would use it for my Santa Rosa. I will say, he does the races significantly faster than me. Like, I don't remember what it was, sub 9 hours or some crazy number. Insane. So he was like, I used like 2 bottles on my bike or whatever. He's like, if you're going to be a little bit longer, you might want a little bit more. I was like 6 hours longer. So I used quite a bit more, but I used it on, for Santa Rosa. And of course, I had no GI issues. So fast forward, Mike has now been working with UCAN.
Yeah. Great news. As of Friday, I am now a UCAN ambassador. So Woohoo. I get a product sponsorship by them, and I get us a code that we can use. UCAN Inspire Me. You can use on checkout. We'll put that in the show notes. so you can
that's awesome.
try it out yourself. What's really cool, besides how yummy it is and how much it works, is I've really can stand behind this product. I can really stand behind, the energy and the protein powders that they use, because they work. They actually work, and I feel good. And so I don't have to worry about the big sugar crash that I get from a lot of them. The gels and the goo and the blocks and stuff, it's good, but it's dirty energy. It's short
Filthy.
Filthy. Filthy.
I'm a huge UCAN bar person.
Oh, those are good. What do you like, the peanut butter?
Yes. Oh, and then they've got the cinnamon one that's crazy good.
I haven't had that yet.
The cinnamon. So I will say this: the peanut butter chocolate bar is my favorite. I didn't bring many of them with me on Santa Rosa because they get melty.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously the chocolate around. So I did have the cinnamon because there's no coating, no frosting.
Exactly.
On it.
Same with the coffee, which I love. The coffee bar.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's good too. And then they have a cinnamon flavored drink mix.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so unlike everything else is lemonade, berry, whatever, sugary, sweet. I get sick of that flavor. And the cinnamon it just isn't sugary like that. I don't feel that feeling of my mouth being coated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
I get that sometimes on the bike, on a half Ironman or longer. It's by the end, and then you're running, and it's just bleh.
You got the stickiest loogies.
They won't even go. They just kind of
exactly.
drip out onto your chin.
That's the kind of spit that's perfect for if you're holding down a younger sibling and dangling a loogie above their face and then going and sucking it back up and scaring them. But it's not good for a race.
Exactly. So yeah, I really like it. I love the bars. My issue with the bars is that I'll order them by the box, and then I will not save them for my workouts.
Yes. Yeah. Oh.
So when you used it on your COVID, man, did you use just the drink mix, or what other products
Combination
did you use?
of it, yeah.
Okay.
I had a couple bars for the bike ride, and I used the drink mix for everything else. And then for the run, I just went without. I drank it before, which is cool. The cool thing is, because it's not fast acting, it lasts a long time. Then it's a slow energy release. I drank a bottle of it before I did the run, and then just ran.
Right.
Had a few sips of water along the way for the half marathon.
Mm-hmm. It does have a different, I want to kind of bring this up. I brought it up, I think, when I talked with Matt, but I definitely want to bring this up to the listeners. It's not your average sports drink. So, if you get whatever, a hammer product or something, you just put it in the bottle and then you just drink it whenever you feel like it. That's not, UCAN has a little more functionality than that, but you need to use it in the appropriate manner.
Yes.
So like Mike said, he drank, it's slow acting, so he just drank it before. So I've had people tell me that they didn't think that UCAN was that great because they tried to use it like they're using these other products, but the other products, the benefit they're giving you is that they're giving you a quick sugar blast.
Yes.
So you just drink it at the time that you need that sugar blast, but UCAN's not doing it that way. It's more like eating some protein. You know what I mean? It's going to take some time for your body to digest it. So I just want to encourage people to try it for sure. It's an amazing product, but to know that, spend some time, read about how to use it correctly, and then do that if you're going to test it. Don't just try to use it like you're using, something else.
Yeah.
Gatorade.
Read the directions.
Yes. Not all products are the same, and this one's not the same as the other. So
no, but to answer your question, yeah, during the bike I had a couple bars too because I like the feeling of my stomach feeling a little more full, and so I think the bike's the perfect time for that. But it's so I'm excited. So check out the show notes, the checkout code for 10% off and 10% that's going to help us out on the show is You Can Inspire Me. And it's usually You Can Inspire, then the ambassador's initials. For me, it's me, Mike Ergo. So it has a nice little ring to it.
That's awesome.
So you can inspire me and purchase some You Can. I think they'd love that too. What else do we have on this? I think one thing that we can do is swim, bike, or run just for fun without any watches or any metrics or any expectations of it. Just go out for
hold on there.
The absolute fun of running or biking.
But if it's not on Strava, it didn't happen.
You know what? You can put it on Strava. Just don't look at your fucking watch. Just for funsies. But you're right. If it's not on Strava, it doesn't count. So this might not count. You might not get points or kudos.
And actually, the benefit of like doing a couple workouts without the watch, with knowing it's not going to be on Strava, is that you'll find that you're doing it differently. Like if you're doing a trail run and you want to stop and look at some flowers, probably not going to do it if you're going to be posting this on Strava.
Yeah, exactly.
But if no one's going to know because it never happened, you can stop and smell the roses.
Yes, I love doing that. In fact, it's funny. I did that more, I think, when I was on Strava, or when I was, I'm still on Strava, but when I was using that as my main tracking device, because I'd stop and take a picture. You know, I usually go on runs with my kids, like for my long, I time it well. So I time it right when my kids were about to nap in the double stroller and do my long run. And I'd, just check them like, food in the oven, be like, oh, this one's done. Lower it down so they could fall fully asleep. I'm like, oh, this one's done. And then I'd stop and, whatever I saw, different flowers, poppies, the clouds, gopher snakes, everything on the trail, check them out.
I mean, I don't really struggle to stop and smell the roses. I'm someone who was going to do it anyway, even if I'm going to be on Strava. I mean, I'll pause my watch. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted, but I will stop and smell the roses. But so a lot of times people will see I'm posting from Garmin. So it'll tell the time that my event was, or, that my activity was. But it also tell me, say the elapsed time. And a lot of times those are quite different because I've stopped and done whatever. But I think just not giving yourself permission to not have this particular activity mean anything other than just spending time with you and your body and nature is a good thing for your brain.
Yes. Just for fun, just for funsies. And, guys, when racing comes back, we are all going to enjoy it that much more. I will say right here, I was thinking about racing and I almost started crying. Just at that feeling of like being able to come together again with people. We're gonna love it. It's gonna feel good.
You know what? It's like I just was picturing the swim start. Normally everyone's in there, we're kind of like getting ready, a little anxious. I mean, I can't. It's gonna be like a party.
Yeah.
The swim start next time. We can all be close to each other. It's gonna be amazing.
Yes, lots of group hugs happening. I guarantee it.
Mm-hmm. That first race that goes off the first time anyone's at a race is gonna be, I hope, like a love fest. Yeah. And I think it probably will. For one thing, we're all gonna not be used to racing, so that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
To see how many people are not as organized in transition. I mean, I'm already disorganized, so there won't be any change there for me. But yeah, little rusty. It'll be fun. It's gonna be fun, and it'll happen eventually.
It'll happen. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, do we cover it, or is there anything else that you have for how to do this?
Nope. I think we covered it. I mean, I like the idea of people spending time doing different trying different activities and letting it go and challenging themselves with different, maybe working on form or strength, trying out nutrition things. That's always a good thing. Yeah. I mean, I think that this is a time we can use to become even more well-rounded athletes.
Yep.
And so that, when racing does happen again, we have even more tools in our toolbox to use on race day.
Exactly.
The better ability to overcome obstacles and to pivot, and to handle tasks in a calm, not, panicked way, and maybe more physical strength, right? And better technique. And I mean, it's up to us really how we respond. Like, we can't control stuff like the pandemic, but it's definitely within our control about how we respond to what's happening.
Yep. Yeah, we can actually practice a transition instead of just lying to your coach and saying you did it and not doing it. You can actually practice a transition. You can actually practice changing a flat or changing a bike tire out.
Yeah, I've never practiced transition, but I've never lied about it because it would be so obvious. It's like
that would be hilarious. You're like, Lindsay, you practice this. This is
what were you practicing? Taking a nap? I don't understand. It's just like Sue shared last time, that she did her hair in transition
I love that.
The first time.
Had a cooler just set up.
Yeah, I can totally relate. Cooler's a good idea though, for real.
Yeah.
Just to sit on it. So I think we covered it. Anything else you got?
No. What's our challenge for our listeners for the week? Try something new. Find one new skill they can work on. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. All right, peeps. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
All right, everyone. Dick hair.
I caught it that time. You said dick hair. He's ridiculous. Okay. Bye, y'all. Alrighty, that concludes today's episode of the Age Groupies Podcast with me, Lindsay Hiken, and my co-host, Mike Ergo. We really hope you enjoyed it. You can follow the show on Instagram at Age Groupies, join our Age Groupies page on Facebook, and look us up by name, Lindsay Hiken and Mike Ergo on Strava. If you have questions, comments, or topic ideas, feel free to email us at agegroupies@gmail.com. If you enjoy the show, please leave a rating and review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast, as this really helps us get more exposure while we try to grow this little venture. And of course, if you have friends you think might like the show, please be sure to share it with them. But for now, thanks for listening, and we will talk to you next week.